When I was a kid, we had this woman that was really best friends with my mom and my dad. She actually ended up marrying the man that my mom originally dated and was part of the reason that my dad ended up meeting my mom, but that's a story for another day. And they had a single son named Paul. Paul was a couple of years older than me and several years older than my brother Sam, who's 4 years younger than me. And our parents would play board games all the time. You know, they'd get together with other friends and they'd play. Sometimes it was like Dungeons and Dragons. Sometimes it was the things you'd see in a normal toy store. Sometimes it was games from the other side of the world that they had to find translations for online themselves because it was like German or Russian or something like that. So anyways, almost weekly, at least several times a month, I'd see this kid named Paul, sometimes my house, sometimes his house. And for the longest time, he was probably mine and Sam's best friend. For a long time, I was actually like best friends with his neighbor, who was a girl named Hannah, born like 2 days before I was, so we got along fine, but once, we would sleep over like constantly, but once like preschool hit, it kind of stopped. But we kept on seeing Paul for years and years, and we'd always hang out, and sometimes we'd play, board games ourselves. Sometimes we'd play Pokemon together. I have a really vivid memory of being on a vacation with my family and his family at a beach house. I don't remember where, but I had a Game Boy Advance, and I had Pokemon Leaf Green. And I didn't really understand it because I could barely read. I was probably only like 5 or 6. But Paul could read, and Paul understood what was happening, so I would sit and watch, and I got to choose which Pokemon we caught and which moves we would use, but he would actually make sure that we got through the game. And I remember that we didn't understand that there's like a level max, so we had a level 100 Blastoise, and I remember I think it was in Mount Moon or something like that, one of the Team Rocket members threatens like, oh, if I win this fight, I get to keep the Pokemon. And me and Paul were freaking out because we thought like, oh my god, we just caught a Sandshrew, and it took us so long to get this Sandshrew, and now they're gonna take it. Oh Jesus Christ! But so there's a lot of other memories. We went on several other family vacations with him, and I have a lot of memories of like playing house with him. We'd play like town, where like one person would sell stuff, someone would mow lawns, and just messing around until the wee hours of the night, when our parents would finally get tired and we'd drive home, and we'd usually be passed out on the couch by then. I don't know why I suddenly thought of Paul, because after, like, elementary school, we didn't see him as much because my parents didn't. Life got busy. Me and Sam got hobbies, so our parents didn't have as much time for their own, and we didn't see Paul as much. And I remember feeling pretty distant from him, from someone I'd seen several times a week through most of my childhood, and being at his graduation party, and he was going off to do something in law or something like that, and it was at a country club. And there was also a period where Paul went to military school because he didn't do his homework right, and his parents didn't know what to do, but that was a whole nother mess. But I don't know. It's very strange because I spent so much time with this kid, and I haven't seen him in a couple of years now, I don't even think. Last I checked, he was going to college for law, and then he dropped out in the first year because a friend there ended up killing herself, and he didn't know how to deal with it. And I don't think he's been able to go back since. I think he was doing online school, but I don't know. From what I hear, he's kind of like a family bum now, but his parents would never admit that, but I don't know. It's certainly strange because he was always good grades and he dressed nice and his family was religious. So to see kind of how he ended up, I hope he's doing all right, and I hope he figures it out. I know his parents love him and his dad's having a rough time because he's got a disease, but I don't know. I was just reminded vaguely of the fact that Paul existed, and of the old videos we used to record on the very first digital camera I got when I was 8, like fighting with like plush chairs and big crayons, and like playing Pokemon together and messing with Legos and talking about books we'd read like Harry Potter or the Warrior Cats. He was a good kid. I think he still is a good kid, and I hope he's doing alright. If you ever hear this, Paul, I still think it's funny that you breathe weird, and I used to use it as an advantage when we played hide and seek, because if you listened quiet enough, you could hear you breathing through your nose. Little bonus thing here, while looking for something to show on camera, I found this red-backed salamander, so enjoy this little friend.